Hello, everyone. How's it going? This is immigration attorney Moumita. I'm here live to talk to you about immigration and to see what you may have on your minds and to discuss some of the more pressing immigration questions that you may have. Today, a person I spoke with asked me to talk about this particular topic, and this live is dedicated to her. If you are watching, you know who you are. You told me that I should talk about this main fear that immigrants have, which is, will they get deported when their marriage adjustment of status application gets denied? Will you get deported if you end up getting denied for an application? This is a very important question that I'm going to talk about right now. But before I go any further, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Moumita Rahman. I am an immigration attorney. I am in New York, but I work with immigrant clients all over the US. So no matter what state you are located in, if you are in search of good immigration assistance, give us a call, 212-248-7907. And the primary case type that I work with are for persons who have started the green card process, started the perdón or the waiver process with their U.S. citizen or green card holding spouse, and where that marriage is no longer working out and things are falling apart and there is no other way forward. And also I work with persons who have been separated or divorced from their U.S. citizen spouse and are looking for a way to legalize their status, especially if they never entered the U.S. legally. Now, let's talk a little bit about this big fear that a lot of immigrants have in the community, which is the fear of getting deported after getting a marriage adjustment of status application denied. Now, here is the thing. Deportation is actually a very long, slow process. So if you are afraid that getting something denied means that you're automatically going to get removed from the US, it is simply not how it works. Now, I cannot say for sure whether your application getting denied will cause you to receive a letter to go to court, but that is usually how it works out. If the government is going to start a deportation proceeding against you, they actually have to give you a letter saying, basically alleging the immigration violations that they suspect you of. And not only do they have to give you this letter is called the notice to appear. You also have to receive a hearing date through a notice of hearing from the court itself. That is how your case usually starts. And if you end up in court for deportation proceedings, we call it removal proceedings, please know that this is actually a very long process. Usually there are several hearings. Usually it starts out with several master calendar hearings. A master calendar hearing is like an administrative hearing or like a pretrial conference, so to speak, before you have your actual merit hearing or the individual hearing, which is more like the final trial. Now, if you are detained, then your case will go a lot faster. However, in most cases, there is no same-day deportation. You will not just be picked up and put in unless you have a prior order of removal. If you have a prior order of removal that was given to you in the U.S. and you never left, that is considered an unexecuted order of removal. And if you do happen to get caught, whether it's from a denied application or whether it's from something else, then yes, that may cause some problems for you. If that happens to you, then one thing that you can do is request an automatic stay of removal with ICE or with the immigration court. Now let's talk about this. What happens if you have a marriage adjustment of status process? You have started the green card process with your husband or with your wife, and now things are not working out. What if you have an interview next week and your spouse is saying, I do not want to go to the interview with you. I don't care what happens to you. You can get deported for all I care. In fact, you should get deported and I'm not going to go with you. I don't care what happens to you as a result. To me, if your spouse is saying these things and they don't care what happens to you, to me, it's a sign of a problem that you may be suffering in your marriage. You may be going through a lot of things. You've probably been going through a lot of stress and you never realized just how bad it was, right? If you are living in a situation where your spouse continuously is harassing you, continuously puts you down, continuously makes you feel like you're doing everything wrong, that everything is your fault, and finally now they are not going to go to the interview with you, then you need to take immediate action and give us a call, 212-248-7907. You may qualify to actually continue the application on your own through something called a VAWA self-petition. A VAWA self-petition is actually a way to apply for a green card, to self-petition for a green card when you are the spouse of a U.S. citizen or the spouse of a resident and where your spouse has actually put you through lots of emotional abuse, lots of manipulation, lying to you constantly, putting you down, and even in some cases where they have physically hurt you or sexually abused you, assaulted you, anything like that. It covers so many things. And you can think that sometimes that maybe what happened to you isn't really that bad because you never had a mark, you never called the police. However, you'd be surprised, what qualifies and what is considered underneath this sort of case, but primarily if you're married and you're going through these difficulties, don't delay. Give us a call, 212-248-7907. You never know how much hope you may actually have. I don't want you to feel like you have nothing left. And I also don't want you to suffer in a relationship where, your spouse constantly threatens you, constantly puts you down, makes you feel like you're crazy just for the purpose of getting a green card, because no one deserves to be in a relationship like that. Whether you're a citizen or whether you're not, for me, my primary concern is for immigrants because you guys don't have status and it's a very, very difficult situation to be in. So I'm focused on you, but every single person deserves to be in a loving and respectful relationship, okay? 212-248-7907. I have a question from Wooden Star who's asking, after the I-360 is approved, how long does it take to receive the green card or the interview or to hear anything from USCIS? Mood Star, thank you so much for your question. Once your I-360 has been approved, you should expect to hear back from USCIS anywhere between 6 months to maybe about a year. And during this time, your case is going to get forwarded to your local field office, and then they have to take action to either issue your green card or ask you to come in for an interview. That's the long part. You may end up waiting another 6 months to a year for that time. And then what you will hear is either you may receive a request to turn in your medical exam, or you may just receive a notice to come in for the interview, okay? Good luck to you, Wooden Star. Thank you for your question. Dakota Ice Cube, hi, how are you? Emerson, hello. How long after sending a VAWA application will you receive the EAD and advanced parole? Do I need to get the prima facie in order to get those? Thank you so much. Emerson, thank you so much for your question. For your work permit, which is called the employment authorization document, and for the advanced parole, which is the AP, these will normally take, when it's an initial application, about 6 months or more to receive. The bad news is that we are starting to see processing delays for the work permit and for the advanced parole. So in some cases, we are seeing that it may go over 6 months. If it's a renewal, then that usually takes a little bit longer too. But the good news is that if you have filed for a work permit renewal, you will usually receive a 180-day extension automatically upon making that application. But otherwise, more or less, Emerson, it's taking a little bit more than 6 months right now, okay? All right, good to see you. How much do you charge for such a case? I know someone who has this problem from a viewer on YouTube. All right. So when you know someone who is going through these marriage problems, where you see that your friend or your family member is constantly suffering, constantly being put down, like maybe you even see that they're being yelled at in public, and they're constantly stressed out. These are a lot of problems that people hold inside, and you have no idea what people are going through in their marriages and in their relationships. And people usually suffer in silence because they're afraid, they're ashamed, and all these things. If you notice that your friends or family have suddenly become withdrawn and they are going through this green card process through their spouse, it's time to actually ask them, what's going on, and give them a number 212-248-7907. How much to charge for this case will usually depend on the specifics of the case. I can't really give out a quote over the internet like this. I need to speak with the person to see what they have going on in the case and then see what needs to get done. But the bottom line is that if you have loved ones or people you care about, maybe even coworkers, and you know a little bit about what's going on, take the time to inquire, especially when you see your friends becoming withdrawn or depressed or suddenly super anxious about their immigration case. That may be a sign, that there's not all is right, okay? How can I bring my wife and mom along with my uncle? My wife is pregnant. She needs her during her pregnancy, from Darek. Darek, you can't really bring, anyone who is trying to sponsor their family members overseas. The only family members that you can sponsor are your spouse, your own mother or your own father, or your siblings or your own children. You cannot bring over your mother-in-law with your wife. Usually, your wife will need to get their green card first and then become a citizen and then sponsor for them. However, it may be possible for them to apply for a visit visa, but that is also very, very difficult to get these days because most consulates are not even giving out visit visa interviews. But good luck. All right, let's just see some questions I have on TikTok. Thank you to all my users for your patience. All right, got an extended 1-year green card and passport. Can I fly now from Saudi? Saudi, yes. And anyone who has an I-551 stamp in your passport, that is proof of your residency. And yes, with this, you are typically able to travel and show it as proof of your ability to work or your authorization to work. You should be fine, but always double check with your lawyer, okay? My dad applied for my green card in April. Status says it's approved. Now, how long will it take? From Hafsa, it depends on your category and whether it's current. Hi, conditional green cards for the past 4 months, mentally abused, physically once, less evidence, no police report, stay or leave, random choice. I hope you're still watching. And anyone else who is watching who already has a 2-year green card and you're suffering in your marriage. I don't care if it's emotional abuse or physical abuse or both, one or the other or both, whatever it is, you don't deserve to stay in there. However, whether you stay or you leave, it really depends on your circumstances. I obviously advocate for everyone to be safe. Have a plan of safety first and foremost to make sure that you're going to be okay, right? We don't want you to be in harm's way. If you fear for your life, it may be time to get a protection, an order of protection. But the good news is that if you have a conditional green card and you are in this sort of a relationship with your U.S. citizen spouse who's hurting you, you may still be able to at least take care of your immigration portion independently of them, okay? You may qualify for asking for your conditions to be lifted to get your 10-year green card without your spouse knowing, without them getting involved. You can go ahead and file for that right now if you're already meeting, if you're already being hurt like this. Does not matter that you still, you've only had the conditional green card for 4 months. The good news is that when you are filing for the extreme cruelty or battery waiver of the joint filing requirement, this can be filed for at any time, no matter when your card expires. There's no deadline and there's no, you don't have to wait until you're within the 90 days of filing. So what I would say, random choice, I don't know what you need to do. You don't need a police report, but you can give me a call. 212-248-7907. Let's see if we can get you an appointment to look at your case to see what we can do and what your options are, okay? Plan C canceled. Now what? Vidya, you got to wait until next year because I'm not too sure what else is going to happen. I need to give you a call next month. I'm ready to fix my papers. I've been married for 11 years from Momster Bites. Momster, I'm so glad to hear it. Anyone who's been, waiting to give me a call, give us a call and just let's get your status fixed. Let's go ahead and see what your options are and to see where you can go. I know the year is about to end. Don't delay. My calendar is already filling up with appointments for next year. So please get on it. How many times does USCIS RFE renew green cards? From Dalir. Dalir, I'm not sure I understand your question. But usually if you renew your green card, I've never really seen an RFE unless you're missing some basic documents. What if they denied your application after you get a divorce from Precious Johnson? Precious Johnson. Okay, so I think your question, Precious, is maybe about, will you end up in deportation if your application gets denied and you've gotten divorced? Now, it usually goes to your field office. Some field offices are very, very quick to send a notice to appear to denied cases, and others don't care. In New York, we see less NTAs. In some other cases that are smaller, maybe, in those offices, there might be more action on NTAs. But just because you've gotten divorced does not necessarily mean that you're foreclosed or you are foreclosed from doing a VAWA application. For a VAWA application to qualify for it, even if you're divorced, the divorce cannot be more than 2 years old. If your divorce is less than 2 years old, then you may still qualify to file for VAWA, and that may be another backup option. Okay, Precious? Give us a call. Mood and Star, thank you so much. They're saying you're a very loving person. Thank you so much. Shafat Ullah is saying, hello, I got denied in a genuine asylum case. Will marriage help me decide despite the J1 visa? Thanks, Shafat. Okay, anyone who has a bona fide, valid marriage and your spouse is willing to help, or you have suffered in a bona fide real marriage, emotionally or physically, you may have options available to you, whether you have denied asylum cases, whether you have an order of removal, whether you are out of status, or whether you entered illegally. Just give us a call, 212-248-7907. Every single case is different, and we definitely need to walk through everything to see what the options are. But generally, if there is a bona fide real marriage at the core of it, whether you're doing a joint filing together, or you have to do a self-petition, we always look to see what's possible, okay? I applied for my husband in October 2018, and now almost 1 year waiting for an interview call. Miriam, definitely you may be needing to do some service requests with your case. All of my documents have been at the National Visa Center for about a year. How much longer until I get my interview? Mariella, make sure you check to see whether your documents have been properly submitted and whether anything is outstanding. If it's in more than a year, some things may be expired. So you may need to renew some of your documents, such as police reports and things like that. So you want to check on that. And, if it's been more than a year, it definitely always depends on the consulate. Some consulates are being very, very slow to give appointments, but generally by now, most consulates are giving appointments. So you may need to take a look at your case, and you can contact your senator, your local senator, for some assistance. Will DACA people get citizenship, or can they get a green card? From Noor of My World. Noor of My World, unfortunately, right now, there is no plan C. If you have DACA and you're looking for citizenship, you first have to get a green card. And, usually it's going to be through the normal ways, through marriage, through a spouse petition, or, if you qualify for an employer to fix you and you are able to do consular processing, then it would be through that. And random choice 999, I hope you heard my answer, okay? If you didn't hear my answer, random choice, I'm gonna say this again for everyone who's here. If you have a conditional green card, I don't care how long you've had it, if you are suffering in your marriage due to emotional abuse, verbal abuse, meaning that your spouse is constantly cursing you out, raising their voice at you, you're afraid of them, you get backed into a corner, you're afraid they're gonna do something to you. Maybe your spouse has done something to you. Maybe your spouse won't help you financially and they make you turn over your money and they get mad at you when you don't. These are all things that are elements of abuse, things that your US citizen spouse may be doing to you in order to make you feel, isolated, in order to make you feel like you have no choice and to have power and control over you. Even if you've only had your green card, your 2-year green card for 4 months, you may still qualify to file your application to remove the conditions to get your 10-year green card based upon filing for a waiver requesting underneath extreme cruelty and battery, okay? Don't delay, give us a call, 212-248-7907. I got a letter saying my interview was ready to be scheduled. How long does it usually take? From Myra Julissa. Myra, it can take anywhere. It really depends on the field office. So anytime that you see your status update say online that your interview is ready to be scheduled, it doesn't really mean much. What it really means is that you have passed the initial hurdle of documents, like no documents are missing. So your case has been forwarded to the local field office for an interview. And then you've got to wait. You've got to wait to see what happens to the local field office because they've got to schedule you for an appointment slot. So that can take some time. My citizenship was denied because they didn't open all my papers, and I filed N236 from FAMCA. FAMCA, you filed the N236. I actually would say that it's probably faster to just file the N400. There's no posted waiting time for that. I just got married to my husband undocumented. What would you recommend for us to do? From It's Cat. It's Cat, you're a citizen. I would recommend you call us, 212-248-7907. We'll walk through your husband's case to see what he qualifies for and what is possible in his case, okay? Shafa, thank you very much. I am in removal processing in immigration court. What can I do to cancel the removal processing? I'm just 5 years in the US. From Aziz Olayoye. Aziz, and anyone else who ends up with a letter to go to court in removal proceedings. The bad news is that you cannot just cancel your removal proceedings. The only way to cancel your removal proceedings is if the government agrees to cancel it. but then you have to show that you're eligible for something in particular as far as a relief for immigration. For a lot of people, it's possible to get the case dismissed if they're married to a citizen and, it's a bona fide relationship, and, they can show that they're going to get a visa soon or a green card, so they're eligible for that. Or, they're qualified for some other humanitarian visa type. Now, if you are in removal and you have only been here for 5 years, then we need to look to see what you qualify for. The basic defenses in immigration court as removal defense could be really, a wide-ranging sort of, type of defenses. For example, it could be based upon family. If you have a child who can sponsor you, or a spouse who can sponsor you, or if you qualify, if you don't have any family to sponsor you, then we have to look at the non-family-based cases. Usually, these are asylum or a T visa, a U visa. These are the sort of things. Just being here for 5 years, not being eligible for something, just being a person of good moral character, it does not necessarily mean that you can get it canceled. You just actually have to go through court to see what your defenses are, and then the judge will make a decision at that point. So good luck to you, Aziz. Marika Ronto, Mr. Manchin killed the Build Back Better bill. What happens now with 1 million documented people? And I know I have a lot of questions about the recapture and Build Back Better and a few other questions. Guys, the bad news is that it's dead. It's dead right now, and we have to see maybe if something else might happen next year. At this point, everyone's got to wait. Maybe we'll see some other proposals come through, but as of right now, everything is back to square one. Marika, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I know it's not something I like talking about. What's El Guero? What's an I-360 declaration? An I-360 declaration is basically your statement as to why you are deserving of being approved for the I-360. Can you expedite the NVC process? They asked for an affidavit of my minor son after submitted for the spouse. From Nomad, yes. If you can show that there is some sort of an emergency or a reason you need to have your case expedited, then yes, you can ask for an expedite. You have to give proof of that expedite. The reasonings for it, it could be something like a medical hardship, a psychological hardship, financial hardship. It really varies, but you have to show proof, written documentary proof. If your case is at NVC, then you would make that request to the NVC itself. How much do you charge for consultation? From Dalir? My consultation fee is $150. It is for either a phone or a video consultation. I do not do any in person. So I have a lot of people who ask, what if I'm not in New York? I had someone from Minnesota call me today, and, she's like, I hope it's okay that I'm calling from Minnesota. I said, of course. My goal is to help as many immigrants across the U.S. as I can. I don't care what state you're in. I actually really love to go to different states and travel for my clients. I actually travel for cases. So don't delay. Good legal help is not always easy to find. If you're seeing me right now and the way that I'm speaking to you resonates with you and you like it and you feel like I can help you, then please do give us a call, okay? My goal is really to touch as many lives as possible. Because I also feel very lucky when people choose to call me and work with me, because I know that I'm going to give it my all, and that me and my team are going to give it our all, and we're going to do maybe sometimes a better job than other lawyers. Okay, let's see. My dad, okay, let's see what other questions I have. How long does NVC take to schedule interviews? From Mariam, it depends on the consulate. Could be anywhere from a couple of months to more than a year. Okay. Waleed Khan, hello. Me and my fiance applied for fiance visa while in COVID, and we can't meet with each other. We met one time in 2018, and we applied in 2021. And we submit the application paperwork. Does it work? All right, Waleed Khan, and anyone else doing a fiance visa. The statutory rule is that you and your fiance must have met at least once physically in person in the past 2 years prior to the application. So if you filed your application in 2021 and you only met once in 2018, then I'm guessing that you're probably not going to get approved, which is unfortunate. You just have to make another attempt to meet in 2021 or 2022 and then refile your application. All right. Can a citizen mom sponsor me? I'm 3 years. I'm married 3 years. I'm 24. How long would it take if I go? Should I go to the citizen husband? From Brenda. Brenda Ortiz. Thank you for your question. All right. If you have a parent who's a citizen, a U.S. citizen, and you're grown and you're married, the bad news is that you are in a preference category, which means a 10 plus year wait. So your mom can technically file an I-130 for you, but you're probably not going to qualify to get a green card. It's probably going to be faster to go through your husband because as the spouse of a U.S. citizen, you are considered an immediate relative. Now, whether we do an application for you, Brenda, which is through your husband, which is a joint application because you have a legal entry to the U.S., or if you don't have that, then I'm going to look to see if you qualify for other things, such as, if you have any problems with your spouse. Does your spouse ever put you down? Do you ever feel unsafe? Do you ever feel worried that your spouse doesn't want you to be here in the US? Then you may qualify for something called VAWA, and we look to help you with that so you don't have to do a waiver. And if that doesn't work for you, then we do a waiver for you, but you would have to go to your home country, okay? Give us a call, Brenda, 212-248-7907. Hi, my green card has been approved through an asylum case. I can't travel other country. From Mirza. Mirza, you probably need to get a refugee travel permit. Ana Rodriguez, you speak Spanish. Sí, hablo un poco. Y ahora estoy aprendiendo. Okay. My asylum is pending in New York, but I'm married a U.S. citizen. I got approved I-130, how to withdraw asylum. Gautam, you want to make sure that your case is actually properly approved before you go around withdrawing, because sometimes withdrawing an asylum application when you're out of status can sometimes cause you to get notice to appear and end up in court. I usually wait till the very, very last minute. But anyway, the proper way to withdraw an asylum application is in writing. Do I need to have my booster shot for my green card? From Myra. Myra, at this point, the booster shot is not required, but I urge every single person to get their booster shots. And if you're not vaccinated, please get vaccinated. Do everyone a solid, do yourself a solid, get vaccinated and get your booster shots. As of right now, the COVID-19 vaccination is required for all cases where you're going to be applying for a green card. It is 100% required. Yes, you can request an exemption, but if you're trying to claim a religious exemption, you're going to have to show a religious objection to everything, okay? Not just the COVID-19 vaccine. Zenik Kardash, you're saying, can you answer my question? I didn't see your question, sir. You can try again. My VAWA says transfer to NBC and Lee Summit and to local office for interview. What does it mean? From Ave Cash, it means that you're going to go for your green card interview, most likely, okay? I have done my individual hearing. It's been 2 months and no decision yet. Is that normal? From Nura? Nura, it may be because you're requesting, it may be normal. It may not. It may mean that you have a hard case that the immigration judge is going to take time to make a decision on. Normally, I would say it's more normal to get a decision the day of your hearing. But yes, it can come in the mail later. I wish you luck and I hope you get through it. All right, a few more questions. My friend, very interesting. My friend got married Islamically with a U.S. citizen and she disappeared. Can he file for VAWA? Yasser, and everybody else. For any case to work in immigration that is based upon marriage, whether it's a joint case or whether it's a self-petition underneath VAWA, the marriage needs to be considered valid and legal where it was performed. So I know, for example, that in the U.S., normally, in New York, for example, our religious marriage is not considered valid. You need to do a proper civil ceremony or have it registered, with the court. Then it's considered valid. So you have to check with the laws of the state where your friend got married. And if it is, then, if it's considered legally valid and legally binding in that state, then or in the country, then yes, we may be able to file for VAWA. So give us a call. All right, just a couple more questions. I'm just going to pick and choose. I'm not going to have time to answer everything. Sorry about that. All All right, Kiran Dandiga, 3 years of marriage. They want a second interview now. My wife is a runaway. So what is my next step? And I do have an appointment with you on the 5th. So what do you suggest to me, Kiran? Okay, Kiran. First of all, thank you for making the appointment. If your interview is coming from January 5th, it's a very tight pressure, right? You may need to request a reschedule. You may need to just tell them that your wife is not coming. Definitely hire us before your interview. Hopefully we can help. If your spouse doesn't show up and you don't show up and there's it's going to get denied. What we try to do in these situations is we try to get hired before. We try to let the immigration office know that if you qualify for VAWA and that's what we're going to file for you, that we're going to file for VAWA, because we try to save your immigration case. But the worst case scenario is that if it does get denied, you should be able to continue filing for VAWA and a new application for the I-485. Kieran, I'm looking forward to helping you soon. Obeng, thank you for so much. My asylum proceeding got terminated. What's next for me to do? Obeng, congratulations on getting your asylum proceeding terminated. I'm assuming because you're married to a citizen. Next, you got to make sure you get those applications filed. Okay, Obeng? Give us a call if you need help. I got married to a U.S. citizen and we got divorced. It's been 2 years. Can I still qualify for VAWA? Thank you. Okay, Abi, if your divorce has been more than 2 years, it's been more than 2 years since you're divorced, then you will not qualify for VAWA. However, if you suffered physical abuse, then maybe we might be able to do some sort of a U visa for you. If your divorce is less than 2 years, then you need to give us a call right now because it's probably coming up on the deadline, okay? Danik, post your question again. I'm scrolling. I'm looking for it. There's some people who post the same question like 10 times that it makes it very hard to look at what questions I already have. So I thank you for your patience, but Danik, post your question one more time and I'm gonna look for it right now. Someone's asking a question about, is it safe to switch employer on, she's ignoring anything related to DACA, newer of my world. I actually answered something on DACA earlier, but there's no news on DACA, so that's why I'm not answering all those questions. Towers 520, I have DACA. I had traveled to my country with advanced parole to marry, and I'm married to a citizen. Will my process be easier? From Towers 520, yes. If you have traveled on advanced parole with DACA and you have an entry stamp, then it's going to make it much, much easier for you. Okay, Towers? And P2V, is it safe to switch jobs and employment-based EAD? I can't answer any questions about that. All right. Thank you, JSL. I'm just looking for Danik Dardash. He says he's posted his question many times and I'm still looking for it. All right, everyone. I'm going to answer one last question from... All right. USA 24 Bangla. I applied for my stepson. He's a 6-year-old and is still not coming. Approval 11 months now. USA 24 Bangla. If you applied for him and it's been 11 months, you may want to do some inquiries with USCIS to see what the options are and to see if you can get it expedited. Okay. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope to see you again soon.